Hello there, monsters and men, ladies and people, and welcome to Recharging. The Tesla Model S is, after the Tesla Roadster, the car that made it all happen for the automotive brand Tesla. The Model S is already 8 years old. Of course, it had some upgrades along the way, but can this car still compete with newer cars like, for example, the Audi e-tron? Well, standing here is a Model S P100D, so it's time to find out. Let's first start with the exterior and then with the front. I think the front actually looks pretty good. It looks sharp, it looks aggressive, not too aggressive. I'm really glad that a few years ago they got rid of the nasty black grille here and made it more in line with back then the Model X, but now also the Model 3. I really like the looks. I also like this blue color a lot. You can also order it on the Model 3. Do it, don't do black or white. Take red or blue. It just looks awesome. Before we take a look at the fruit or frunk, however you call it, because well, there's a large bonnet under here and an electro motor is not that big. You got a key. You do still have a key, but it is a proximity key, so that's actually pretty nice. So we just walk to the car. I was standing at the car now, so I just have to press and the door will open just like that. Pretty easy. I really like it. So let's have a look at the fruit. Double click on the key and it will open. The frunk or fruit is big enough to store your charge cables or maybe 2 small grocery bags. It can also be bigger because if you have the non-performance version, there will be a smaller motor at the front. So your frunk or fruit is bigger than this, but it will never be big enough to store a human, for example. If you do manage to get a human in here, then there is actually a button down here that you can open it from the inside. I don't know, probably American safety, because why would you do it? But anyway, it is usable, so that's actually pretty good. Let's have a look at the back. So what about the back of the Model S? Well, just like the Model 3, it looks better than average, but it doesn't really excite me. What does excite me though is the space of this car, because man, this is a big family car. If we open up the electric tailgate, it goes quite slowly, but it will open up eventually. You will actually see a boot space of around 900 liters. 900 liters! There's a handy compartment here under the floor, which is pretty big. If we put down the rear seat, you will actually get a boot space of around 1700 liters. I mean, that is plenty space for almost everyone. The only thing that is a little bit clumsy though, in my opinion, what I would have liked is that the boot cover does not go up together with the tailgate. I would have liked to seen that, but improvement for the future maybe. I almost forgot, can you fit a human in here? Well, as you can see, with the rear seats down, you can sleep in here quite easy. So there's actually one thing that I have to say before we go inside the Tesla, and that is, well, this car is quite expensive. It differs per country, but it easily goes over 100 grand. And for that amount of money, you expect some kind of build quality. And sometimes Tesla still lacks in that. They are growing in it, they're improving it, but still they aren't there yet by, for example, the German automakers. Sometimes the panel gaps are a little bit bigger than you expect. Maybe the door handle is not properly aligning with the door panel. Just little things like that. And some people don't mind, some people do. I let it up to you. But it's just something that I have to notice for you. What is amazing though are the 21-inch rims on this particular model. They look absolutely amazing. So what about the space in the back seats then? Well, the seat in front of me is in my typical driving position. I am 1.85 meters. I have plenty of knee room left. My feet can go under the seat in front of me, so that's actually pretty nice. Headroom though, with the glass window here, there is not a lot left. And if you sit here with 3 persons, which you can do because this is a very wide car, maybe your head will be a little bit awkward and hitting this ridge if you are as tall as me or a little bit shorter. So sitting here with 3 children or shorter people, you will be fine, but if you're longer, your head may hit this ridge. What else then? Well, you do have 2 USB ports here, you do have ventilation here, so that's pretty good. You also have 2 cup holders which slide in or slide out like this, so that's all pretty good. What is there not though? There's no armrest here, so that's actually a downside. I would have liked an armrest as a backseat passenger. Quality here though is actually pretty good. It's not outstanding, but the materials look nice. This is a little bit hard, but it feels actually nice, not that scratchy. This is okay. Your armrest is not that wide though. And also, for some reason, there's no bloody door pocket. Why is that? There's a huge speaker up here, but there's no door pockets to store a cup. Yeah, you do have these cup holders, but they can't fit a large bottle. I would have liked some door pockets here. So what about the front interior of the Model S? Well, after 8 years, it still looks modern. I mean, you got this screen in front of you where you can see your speed, your consumption, your navigation instructions, your time, what mode you're in, etc, etc. And then you have this huge portrait screen in the middle, which, well, you control everything from this screen. Some people love it, some people hate it. I do love it. I do think it looks very nice and it's very techy. It is responsive, it has a fast processor, it does not lag or anything. It is quite intuitive, just like your phone. But again, you control everything in here. Do you want to open this sunroof? You do it like here. You can set the percentage how much you want it to open. Well, I want to open it fully, so you can see the interior better. Do you want to unlock the doors? You do it in the screen. Do you want to adjust the suspension? You do it here. Everything you do in here. But what is pretty nice though, and what I really like about Teslas, is that everything you adjust, you can save that in a profile, and also your steering wheel, your mirrors, your seat adjustment, all those kind of things. The car will save that in a profile, and when you get into the car and someone else sat in your car, so some things are not the way you want it to be, you just press that profile and everything, I mean everything goes, is the way you want it. And it's absolutely amazing. Every modern car should have this. It's so easy to have multiple drivers then, because, well, my girlfriend sits like this, like the mirrors that way, likes these radio stations. Save it in a profile and you're done. So yeah, of course there is the downside by having it all on a tablet, and that is, while driving you do take your eyes off the road when you want to find or control something, or you don't know exactly anymore where that kind of feature is. You have to search through the menus. You take your eyes off the road because you have no haptic feedback that you're pressing anything. So yeah, of course that is a downside. What about cubby spaces then? That's actually not that good here. You do have space here in the middle to store something, which is actually pretty deep. And you have a little space up here together with your 12-volt socket and a USB port. And you do have two cup holders here and a little space here. And you all might think, well, that sounds like a lot. Yeah, it is okay, but not great. And I mean, the glove box itself, the glove box is really, really tiny. And again, just as in the rear, there are no door pockets or anything. And I find it odd. If you want to store a large bottle, it does not fit in here. Where do you put it? In here? I don't know. It's just cubby space. The boot of this car is massive. The cubby space is inside the car, inside the interior. Not that great. What about quality then? Well, as I already said outside, this car is quite expensive. And if you look at it that way, the quality is okay. The materials being used are okay. Some panels do have a huger gap than I would like them to have. Just overall, it is okay, but you do expect a little bit more for this kind of price. So let's talk about performance, because this Model S P100D has over 600 horsepower and over 900 Newton meters of torque. I mean, that is more than most sports cars have. It's absolutely crazy. So with that, it will do a top speed of 250 kilometers an hour. But even more impressive, it will do 0 to 100 in 2.7 seconds. I mean, that is absolutely crazy. That is one of the fastest cars in the world to do that. It's absolutely insane. So I have the car in Ludicrous Plus mode now, and I'm going to do a launch. I'm not going to do a full launch in launch mode because I am on public roads, and I find it a little bit scary, to be honest. I mean, this car is so insanely quick, but I want to show you the acceleration anyway because it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. So let's see if nothing is coming ahead, nothing from behind. It's quite a quiet road, nothing up front. So let's get in the center of the road. Let's stand still. Am I ready? I am ready. 1, 2, 3. Oh my god, this is absolutely insane and I am at 100. Oh gee. It's nothing I've ever experienced before. It's, well, I have no words for it. So the Tesla Model S accelerates as a sports car, but does it also handle like a sports car? Well, the short answer to that is no. I mean, this is a big, heavy car, and you can also feel in the corners that it is a heavy car. I mean, don't get me wrong, when you take it through a high-speed corner, it has plenty of grip. You can do that, especially on these 21-inch wheels. I mean, the tires are just absolutely massive, but you can just feel the weight a bit, and also the steering is quite heavy. You can adjust it here in the screen. I like it though. It is heavy. It's not too heavy. It's heavy enough, but it doesn't have the most feeling. No, if you want a electric sports car, just buy a Porsche Taycan. But the way to drive this car, in my opinion, where it is really good, and is just cruise along, eat those kilometers. And why is that? Well, you can just put the car on chill mode acceleration, so not sport, not ludicrous, just put it on chill. It's fast enough. It doesn't have to be that ridiculously quick. The car is quiet. There is barely any road noise coming from the tires. There is a lot of, no, well, not a lot, there is wind noise noticeable at the windows, and that is probably because, well, it has frameless windows, and I think the ceiling is just not good enough, so some wind is sneaking in, especially on higher speeds. You can hear that, but the car is quiet enough. It also has a 100 kilowatt hour battery pack, this one. With that battery pack, it can do 500 kilometers easily. 500 kilometers easily. For example, in the Netherlands, at daytime, you can only drive 100 kilometers an hour. Then you get those 500 kilometers. If you drive faster, it's probably 450 kilometers. But the newer Tesla Model S's that you can buy right now, because this one is already a little bit older, it's not that old, but just a little bit older, can drive 600 kilometers WLTP. 600 kilometers, I mean, that's huge. Combine that with the Tesla supercharging network, and again, this is an excellent cruiser to eat those kilometers away. A little bit of a downside though, you do have this pillar which eats quite a lot of view, so this is quite, something can go missing behind this pillar, also on the other side of course, and also the back window, it's quite tiny. You don't really have a good visibility to the back. So this particular model also has the Tesla Autopilot functionality, so that means it can, well, almost drive by itself. It can keep you in lane, it keeps the distance in front of you, and it can even switch lanes by itself, and it's actually pretty impressive. I've not seen that before or experienced that before. So I can pull this handle here behind the steering wheel one time, then the automatic cruise control is enabled. So that means it will only keep the distance to the car in front of me, but it will not keep me between lane, and it will also not switch lanes for me. But I can also pull the lever twice, pull the handle twice, and Autopilot is enabled. So that means now it will steer for me, it will keep the distance in front of me, it will keep the distance to the car in front of me, and it will also switch lanes all by itself. I will hold the steering wheel for now, otherwise it will complain that I'm not holding the steering wheel long enough. Oh, damn it, there's actually a car here on my left now, but let's set the speed on 105 kilometers an hour. This car in front of me is driving a little bit slower, 95. So let that car passing by. So what I do is I pull the turn signal twice, first short time, and then I do it, and then look at this! It does it all by itself. It switches lane, it goes to the speed that I've set it, and it does it like that. I think that is amazing. I mean, it is amazing that it can do it all by itself, but there is a downside though, and that is if you have Autopilot enabled, for some reason, if I want to switch lanes by myself, I'm not allowed to do that. I find it strange. I found it strange in the Tesla Model 3, and I find it strange here in the Tesla Model S. So again, I have Autopilot enabled now, so I think I will switch lanes by myself. I will not let the car do it. I will pull out my turn signal, and then if I pull the steering wheel just too much, it will disable Autopilot. So what about charging with the Tesla Model S? Well, on AC, this car can take 3 phases. So that means it can charge up to 11 kilowatts. So that means the 100 kilowatt hour battery pack is actually full in about 9 to 10 hours. So that is actually pretty good. Then what about fast charging? Well, you can go to a Tesla supercharger. On a version 2 supercharger, it can take up a maximum of 150 kilowatts. And on a version 3 supercharger, it can actually take 200 kilowatts. 200! It's mind-blowingly fast. It really is. But what if you want to go to a non-Tesla supercharger? Well, there comes a little bit of a problem, and that is because, well, this car is already older and Tesla never updated it to get a CCS port like the Tesla Model 3. And CCS, at least, is a standard in Europe. So a Tesla Model 3 can charge anywhere without any problems. But for this car, you actually need these kind of bulky adapters, and that is actually, well, a little bit clumsy in my opinion for a car that costs more than 100 grand. This specific one is actually a CHAdeMO adapter, which is also a downside because most CHAdeMO chargers like this one here only give you 50 kilowatts. So then filling up a 100 kilowatt hour battery pack takes a lot of time. There are CCS ones which can take up to 150 kilowatts, but then still you need to buy one of those because I don't think they come included with the car. This one works pretty good actually. I thought I pointed at that. Now you probably have to put in the CHAdeMO first, like this, so it gets power, and then we can open the charge port because there is a little button here. Come on, man. Okay, well, that didn't work. The Tesla button here didn't work, but actually you have to put in this adapter in here. So we have the Tesla charge port, take the CHAdeMO plug and put it in like this, and then it's hanging like this on the car, which is actually a lot of weight. It's just clumsy. I mean, again, for a car that costs more than 100 grand, please Tesla, let's charge it. Let's check if it actually works, but please Tesla, make a facelift of the Model S where you fit the CCS plug, at least for Europe. Do it like the Model 3, it just works better. Again, this is clumsy, you don't want this. So is the Tesla Model S still relevant after 8 years? Well, if you want an electric car that charges fast, has better build quality and is more quiet, buy an Audi e-tron. If you want the best sport electric car, buy a Porsche Taycan. But if you want an electric car that is big, practical, insanely quick, has the longest range and the best charging infrastructure, you still end up with a Tesla Model S. But please Tesla, at least for Europe, fit these cars with a CCS connection. So if you liked this video, please give a like and subscribe. If you did not, please leave a comment below to see what I can improve. And then I would like to say now, as always, thank you a lot for watching and to be continued.